Hey, how's everybody doing today? I'm Jack, and this is Raw Tropical Living, and I appreciate you tuning in for another episode here. Hope everybody's Monday, their week's off to a good start. All I can say is I love Mondays. They're always exciting, fresh, a clean slate. What's going to happen this week? Lots and lots to get done, so let's get right to it. Today I want to talk about the best cooked alternatives on a 100% raw food diet. Guys, I do videos every day, so if you're not already subscribed to my channel, I'd really appreciate it if you go down there and hit that subscribe button now, then click on the little bell and check send notifications so you'll stay subscribed to the channel, and hopefully you'll come back and watch this senile old man do a few more videos. Now by now I hope I was kind of laughing to myself as I do this video, because it does flush a few more out. By this time I would think all the hardcore extreme raw dyed in the wool raw people would kind of be off of me, because I'm just not serious enough. I'm not raw enough for that. I don't preach the fully raw food diet. Actually, I do preach the fully raw food diet, but I just don't obsess over it. I say you do the best you can, and, if you can do it, yeah. I think what it boils down to most of the time, or no, I shouldn't say that, because my brain, I seem to function differently than other people. Let me say for me. I should only always speak for me. For me, what it boils down to with 100% raw food diet versus not eating 100% raw food diet is where I am. And I know some people, and people will say, well, so-and-so does it, or it can be done, or you can do it. But I'm not all that big on squeaking by, surviving, and to be quite honest, like I say, keeping the label. Like doing a 100% raw food diet in what I consider to be a hostile environment for a 100% raw food diet just ain't my jam. So if it is your thing, if you do it in a hostile environment, I know people that do fully raw, never eat a bite of cooked food in Canada. I know people that do it in Europe. I know people that do it in the northern states. So if you're doing it, man, keep on doing it. I'm just kind of talking about the reasons I don't, and I'm also giving you what I feel like are the best alternatives to that. Because like what I was about to go into there, for me, it's never about the weather. It's never about where I am. It's about availability. It's about availability. I mean, I don't care. And yeah, once again, it's not about the cold or hot. If I, and this is a theoretical situation, but if I had access here in this small town in Alabama, or if I had it up in New York City during the winter, or in Canada during the winter, if I had my supply, everything that I could get in Costa Rica, somehow magically it was flown to me, or I had a store that I could find it in there, yeah, I'd be fully raw. I'd be fully raw if the weather was 10 below. Unless I wanted to eat some cooked food, which I've never made I've never made a big deal about that. So yeah, maybe I still would eat a bite of cooked food now and then. When I was at the beach in Costa Rica, never ate cooked food. I had a little 2-eye burner, but it was hot all the time. Now, when I moved to the mountains in Costa Rica, I could have eaten 100% there. And I ate mostly 100%, but yeah, every once in a while, it was cooler weather in the evening, and I just enjoyed making myself a stew, like out of tuber vegetables or whatever. But anyhow, enough preamble leading up to it. There are certain things that I've found, like I say, being up here now, coming up on I say coming up on 2 years. It'll be 2 years in July, so between a year and a half and 2 years. And not getting everything I need, raw up here. Like, to be honest, right now, I'm not even, this will probably, as I'm starting to get back into going to Pensacola more often, this will probably remedy itself. In fact, I'm hoping to go down and meet somebody later this week. And I hope the day will be right and I'll be able to get some mangoes. Anyhow, I hope mangoes will I'll start getting some of them. Point being, is that, right now I've just been doing it on my citrus and bananas pretty much. So anyhow, what I'm getting at here is over the course of almost 2 years, I've gone through the seasons, I've gone through a couple of season changes, when I'm getting fruit and when I'm not. Now, since I don't always get what I need, and I have eaten a good bit more cooked food since I've been in the States, I try to be very observant when I do eat cooked food. Like I can always, you know, maybe throw you something. Like an observation. Once again, these videos aren't about like trying to say you should be 100% raw or you shouldn't be 100% raw or this or that. It's just like giving you options and what you can do and what I do to make things, you know, to get through where I am right now. And the things that I find, and I've eaten a number of things, and hey, I'm not gonna lie to you, I enjoy some of the stuff here. When I went to Pensacola last Thursday, I had, I went to my cooked vegan, well, I actually went to both. I brought something home from the raw place, went and had lunch at the cooked place, and I had a barbecue jackfruit sandwich and macaroni and cheese on the side. And I eat things like that from time to time, not very often, and I haven't been going to Pensacola very often. Most of the stuff I eat is in the potato family. And actually, I've even found the difference in them in a couple of different ways. I double down. I know you've heard me talk about this before, but maybe if I had to pick one food, I think the sweet potato. The sweet potato is the closest thing to me that keeps my body feeling, operating. Like, in other words, like I almost don't even notice that I'm not 100% raw. No, I think there's a number of reasons. Number of reasons is because there's a lot more sugar in the sweet potato, more sugar than starch, or more sugar than in other types of potatoes like the baking potatoes, the russet potatoes, the red potatoes, and what have you. So for two reasons there, I like the sweet potatoes. Number one, like I say, they digest just so well. I can tell the difference in digestion between a sweet potato and the other potatoes. But number two, and probably most important, is that I can just sit down and eat sweet potatoes. I don't need to put anything on them. Nothing, nothing, nothing. You can just sit, you know, I can either steam them, I can bake them, I can do whatever, and I can just sit down and enjoy sweet potatoes. I might put a little something on there. I might put a little bit of Bragg's aminos, maybe just a little bit of pepper, but not a whole lot is needed on that. With russet potatoes, baking potatoes, those little red potatoes, without putting some sort of a sauce on there, they're a little plain, they're a little bland, they're a little dry. And they have more starches in them. So even though it's not a huge difference, I do feel that. Like if I eat a big meal of just sweet potatoes, and that's what I do a lot, that's another point too. A lot of times when I am eating cooked food, and we're talking day to day, not going out to a restaurant, but when I'm eating cooked food at home, very, very, very simple. Sometimes I'll stick to the way I do it with fruit, like a mono meal. If I eat a bunch, I can pretty much eat unlimited sweet potatoes. Feel good, be ready to go for a walk, go exercise, go do whatever I need to do. If I eat a really big meal of you know, other types of potatoes, they can drag me down just a little bit. I don't know that I can really tell enough of a difference to mention it in digestion-wise. I don't feel like in that area that the other potatoes slow it down, but definitely, I feel the closest to 100% raw food diet when I'm eating the sweet potatoes. And the things that I mix with them sometimes, and that might even help it digest a little bit better. One of my favorite combinations, because then you have some greens in there, and those greens tend to really set my stomach right with the sweet potatoes, is I love to just make cook up a big pot of collard greens and then just put sweet potatoes on top of it. Because once again, now the greens are almost like, I look at it like this, and you know, I'm sure some of the enzyme people, and I won't read it, you know, all you guys that give me these little explanations when I talk about this, and they're about 6 paragraphs, I'm old, man, I don't have that attention span, but I just can't be that serious about, oh my gosh, it's a little bit cooked, blah, blah, blah. And as I'm not getting great greens and great lettuce and what have you here, actually, like having a big pot of collard greens or turnip greens, it helps my digestion, you know, but because it digests so smoothly. Things like that, like the greens that you're steaming, like that digests really, really easily for me. Collard greens, turnip greens, I haven't really done spinach. I don't see why spinach wouldn't when it was cooked like that as well, but you can eat a lot of that too. Hard to get that many greens in, but anyhow, now some people, I'm getting into the cruciferous, like I steam cabbage a lot too when I'm doing that. Like, in fact, sometimes I'll just steam a head of cabbage and put a little bit of hot pepper sauce. And when I say hot pepper sauce, I use this clear vinegar. Like, basically it's hot peppers and apple cider vinegar. It doesn't come with apple cider vinegar, but once I use the regular vinegar, I just refill it with that. And it's a clear hot sauce, and very, very good. Another one that digests very well are rutabagas. They're a root vegetable, but I find actually rutabagas to digest better than potatoes. Maybe not as good as sweet potatoes. But yeah, I go the best alternatives, and let me sum this up because I'm, you know, kind of rambling and not being real organized here, but the sweet potatoes and the greens, sweet potatoes and vegetables. The lighter you keep it, the better. I'll do the same with Brussels sprouts, but I won't get into that whole area because some people don't digest the cruciferous, so let's keep it simple. But yeah, sweet potatoes. If you can't get sweet potatoes, but I can't imagine where you can't get sweet potatoes. Most places that have potatoes have sweet potatoes these days. Sweet potatoes. I've just found, I'm not like a rice hater, but I don't see any value in rice. I eat quinoa from time to time, but I do find, as far as the starch goes, that I prefer potatoes all day long over the grains, over rice. The quinoa, okay. I don't do it that often, but that's mostly, if I go to the starches, I go to potatoes, and whenever I can go, I go to sweet potatoes. Other than that, the cabbages, the greens like collard greens, turnip greens if you get them, cabbage, once again, if you have any sort of digestive issues that may not digest that. But yeah. Or probably just another one that's very, very benign. It's almost, it'll go through you just like a fruit. It's not going to slow you down at all as squash, different squash, zucchini. We get the green zucchini and the yellow zucchini here, and sometimes I'll do that with the sweet potatoes. Sweet potatoes and squash are basically like sweet potatoes and those collard greens. I don't even feel them. They just boom. So, you know, I'm observant of this. If I'm going to eat cooked food and I'm by myself all the time and I'm talking to myself, I might as well entertain myself by doing something productive. So I'm always very, very aware of how food affects my body, probably way more so than a lot of other people, and not because I'm smarter, but just because I have more time on my hands. I have more time by myself to be aware of these things. So anyhow, just some thoughts to think about if you're not on that 100% thing. And like I've always trying to say, sometime these clean, simple tricks of eating some clean cooked food when you feel you need it or whatever will sometimes keep you from completely going off the rails and eating something that's far, far worse than any of the things I've talked about. So anyhow, just my 2 cents on the subject. Hope you guys enjoyed this one today. If you like it, please give me a thumbs up. And we'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace.